tit for tat. Words can build or words can break. Speak the truth for all our sake. A hand that feeds can also bind, but peace can free a restless mind. Fix the cracks, don't paint them bright. The world's not whole without the fight. So rise and speak, don't just comply. Change the script, don't live the lie. Counter this, counter that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Counter This. Today's episode is episode 7. We'll be talking about how we clean up the government and remove financial interests. So, on this episode, we brought in a special guest. We've got Crux of Crypto here. Other way, there we go. Crux of Crypto here. How you doing this week?
What's going on, Blackie Chan? What up, LBC? It's good to be here on the show, the 7th episode. It's awesome to see you guys growing. This is dope because you guys know me. I'm mainly from like digital ledgers and crypto content, and that type of stuff. But we're starting to, go into a different lane over here with the government and clearing the swamp per se, because there's a lot going on in the government. And I think within this episode, a lot of people are going to get some educational content from here. So glad to be here.
Glad you could join us for this one, especially this hard-hitting topic, because, we all complain about it, and, it's kind of joked about a lot, where we're like, oh, well, did you copy trade Nancy Pelosi? Because we made a lot of money off of it.
Making them bags.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, it's like we all know that that's not really acceptable. But that's just like the smallest part of financial interests in the government. We have government agencies that are supposed to be a regulatory force of the government, like the FDA. They're like, hey, drug company, we're going to set things up in such a way that when I leave here, I'm going to go run that company and I'm going to make you millions because I know just how to grease the right palms, or I set it up in such a way where I know how to like get around this. Like, none of that's acceptable. And at the end of the day, the only people that are getting hurt are us.
Mhm.
And I've been so tired of seeing it, and I'm pretty sure both of you feel the exact same way. And like that's part of the reason I just wanted to do this show, because there's so many things that need to be fixed, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. We all need to come together on this one thing. So, hard-hitting topic today. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to start with on this one, LBC, to kick it off.
Well, I just, first of all, hey, thanks for the introduction, BC. I appreciate it. You're a great host. You're a great host.
You're the co-host.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you all had an amazing weekend. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I am thankful for each and every single one of you, and I am thankful for the two gentlemen joining me on this panel today. Let's see. Well, so first of all, we're talking about, corruption in the government. And the thing is like our political system isn't broken. It's working exactly as incentivized. The incentives just don't serve regular people. And that is pretty much the core of the issue, in my opinion, is the system itself just kind of incentivizes corruption. And so I would like to first, if we could, just kind of point out how that happens and then what we can do to fix that. Like one example would be like super PACs, dark money groups, stuff like that, where billionaires, corporations, whoever can just anonymously donate to, a politician's campaign. And then once they get in office, that there's, hey, I helped you get elected. So you scratch my back, I scratch your back, I scratch your back, you scratch my back type deal. And that doesn't really benefit the overall people of society. It just benefits the corporations or those people that are able to lobby and put money towards all that stuff. So yeah, that's the first bit that's where I'll start off, is just the system itself is broken.
Mhm.
And if we can identify how, such as like super PACs, if there's any other ways you guys have any other ideas of how we are corrupted, let me know. Let's go.
I think that's definitely fair. For a while, I've always thought, like, why do some politicians get a lot more money, donated to them than other politicians, especially whenever they have, completely different agendas? I've always thought, like, we should be able to compete for, the representative of the party. So, for example, whoever's going to lead the Democrats, and then somebody else, competes for who's going to lead the Republicans. And at that point, I wouldn't even be upset with taxpayer funds pushing for, a set cap, let's just say $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 that these individuals get in their campaign, or their campaign essentially has to use that money to further their ideas and try to get people to buy into their vision. And I think this is very fair, because if you think about it, Donald Trump, the only reason, in my opinion, he was able to compete is because he had the wealth himself. So if somebody didn't have, wasn't rich, you have no shot at being, president of the United States. So I would definitely like to see, a set cap on what these parties can use to be able to, get others to buy into their vision. I think that's much more fair than the current whoever can donate. I think it was the 2020 election, if I'm not mistaken, or the 2021. It was with Sam Bankman-Fried, and then George Soros, and then these type of like big money going into Joe Biden's pockets for him to campaign off of. And I just don't think that's essentially fair, especially whenever SBF got locked up. So you got to ask, where's this money coming from?
Well, and at the end of the day, all it does is really price out anyone to actually have a clean campaign. Because you now have to have millions of dollars to even run against this other person. And they're getting money from hidden agendas, from companies you don't know the name of, from people you don't know the name of, and they can literally put out as much advertisements as they want,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no way to really compete with it. We have
Sure.
seen a few grassroots candidates in like Congress do all right, but at the end of the day, it still took millions of dollars for them to
Mm-hmm.
get that done, of actual donations. And then you still got to go in to Congress and play the same corrupt game where it's like, okay, well, if I want to get something done, now I got to scratch your back, your back, your back, your back to get the bill that's actually somewhat decent for the American people, but now it's all crap because we had to put some pork barrel fat on it.
Yeah, LVC, you got something?
Yeah. There's the campaign stuff about people getting elected, but let's just in 2016 there was one candidate, whether you like his policies or not, that averaged $27 a person, a donor, and took no super PAC money, took no special interest money, none of that stuff, and was this close to actually winning the Democratic primary. Of course, he had big money, corporations against him, ultimately why he lost, to your point. However, I think had he had a little bit more name recognition going into it, instead of starting at literally like 1%, I think he might have done it. That would be, of course, one Bernie Sanders, but I think he kind of proved that you can do it through small dollar donations. And I even think Trump did the same thing in 2016 once he saw how popular that was.
Mhm.
And he would only accept, I think they still had super PACs, but he did use mostly his own money and small dollar donations.
Mhm.
So I think it can be the case that you can get in the office. I mean, I'm not against a rich person if they're spending their own money doing that. I'm against the super PACs pretty much paying the way. So I think I'd much rather see, when it comes to the elections, personally, I'd much rather see some kind of either like a cap, as Crux was talking about, or like or just everybody. Maybe we have a public fund. Let's say we can put it on a DAO. I don't know. We could figure this stuff out. But a
Right.
public fund where each candidate that wants to put their name in the race gets the same amount of money. They get the same amount of speaking opportunities, and the rallies can maybe be done through their own campaigns, whatever. But when it comes to just like running the election and running ads or whatever, I don't think we need the special interest doing that.
Mhm.
It really just needs to be the campaign itself. And also, as voters, we should probably I just want to outright reject anybody that talks about their opponent and can't just talk about what they want to do. I'm pretty much tired of all that, of all the mud flinging and all that stuff.
Sure.
I don't care for any of them. So if they would just be honest and open and just tell me what they want to do,
Mhm.
that's all I really care about
Sure.
at the end of the day. But yeah, when it comes to just the money in the elections, I just think maybe a broad base, everybody gets the same amount. That way, it's just fair. It's fair, and at least have transparency. Like
Mhm.
we can't do the super PACs, man. It's not good. We don't know who's doing what, and it's not what we need.
I think that the
I,
one easy way to get those super PACs out is just to make it illegal for anyone campaigning to release TV ads, which like don't do
mm,
anything anyway. No one's actually talking about what their
I don't know
policy.
about that.
The internet exists, bro.
I know,
You
but
do,
the Trump trans ad almost might have literally won
mm,
him the election.
but
Like,
like still at the same time, if you want to get money out, that's the biggest way to do it. Cancel the
yeah,
TV ads. As the American populace, you can have where it's like this is the amount of money, like Crux was talking about, where you pay into taxes, and this is the money that's allocated for you to do like a speech, where you actually come up and we fund a debate between our actual candidates that are coming up. Same with the state level. And this can all be done on like a blockchain. So everyone knows, like open, transparent, no big company can come in and donate a whole bunch of money and you just don't know.
mhm. Yeah, I think this would help the little guy out quite a bit, in terms of like having to manage money. Because if you only get 500,000, maybe a million, I don't know, like taxpayer funds to be able to push your agenda, then people like Donald Trump are not going to really know exactly how to spend that money. He's used to
Mm-hmm.
just throwing $10 million at something super simple. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, he's going to know how to spend that money to push his agenda because he's used to it. So I think this will help out a specific group of people, which I think is good overall. But one thing I heard y'all both talk about, these funds. Would you both be okay with it being taxpayer money as opposed to donations and stuff?
Uh, it would have to be done in the proper way. Because it's like if that's
I
one of
will.
the few things that we're actually going to pay taxes into, then I'd
Hmm.
be okay with that. To
Right.
actually
Sure.
have politicians get out there and actually be able to speak on their platform about what they want to see done. But if we're going to be paying into that and then a whole bunch of other stuff that the federal government doesn't need to be involved with anyway, then I'm
Hmm.
less okay with it. And I would more want it to be on donations.
Sure.
DAO.
Decentralized autonomous organization. That seems like the move, brother.
Mhm.
I understand.
I want the whole government running off of DAOs, local, federal, all of it. Just give me DAOs, man.
Yeah. So you're you're
I got a
specifically
vision for
talking
DAOs.
you're specifically talking blockchains, right? In
Mhm.
terms of DAOs, or
Mhm.
that's just
Mhm.
okay. Gotcha. What
Yeah.
about AI with DAOs? Would you be okay with that or no? Because at this point in society, AI is completely ran by humans. I think in the next 5 years we have what CGI, when AI is kind of at,
AGI.
at
AGI.
the human level, and then I think AGI, isn't that the final one where AI
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
teaching, is smarter than humans and is teaching
Mhm.
itself.
Mm.
So I think
Mhm.
there's like steps, but I think within autonomous organizations, if we can get to that AGI level, that's going to be scary. You know, if
Mhm.
something that's not even controlled by humans is controlling stuff, but
But
we're not there yet.
we create it.
We did
So we
create it.
can, we've got to, I mean, we've got the ability to make it how we want it. So we just need to do that. We don't need to,
Oh,
don't put any back doors in there or anything. You know what I mean?
Right. And the cool part about like DAOs or just blockchain in general, like we talked about like Fort Knox, for example, like how much gold do we have? Elon Musk, he comes in with Doge. He's like, I'm gonna audit it. We don't hear anything from him again on that whole thing. But we know the United States has 450,000 Bitcoin because it can be audited by you, me, and everybody else. So this technology is beautiful. DAOs are beautiful.
oh, and like that would be that next big step into really removing financial interests. Because as long as they can do things behind a piece of paper, or it's like this is national security and you can't know. Like, I'm sorry, we're the ones funding that. We have every single right to know. If you want to drone
Yeah.
strike some country in the Middle East and the American people don't agree with that, then maybe you just shouldn't drone strike that country in the Middle East. But if you came out with
But
transparency,
BC, you would agree with it if you knew the top secret
yeah,
intelligence.
so what? Maybe if they just told us what the actual plan was, and if the American people approved of it, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna put a portion of that money so that you can spend that to do these things, that'd be way more okay. And it's not like, well, we're in bed with the vice president's oil company, and we need to go over to the Middle East, and we gotta, set up some stuff so that
Look, it's
we.
BC, it's complicated. We got to have relationships with people. We've got to, we got to make sure we, have our oil. It's complicated. Okay, it's
So
not as simple as we can't just tell. They can't just tell us. They're like, I mean, there's certain things that they can tell us, but there's certain stuff that they absolutely cannot. Otherwise, you just ruin the mission. Like, it literally, you can't just go through. You can't go through the mission now.
sure,
There's too much
that's
information
true.
out there.
If Osama bin Laden knows they're going to do a strike tonight, and the American people are sitting here voting on it, he's probably going to leave his home.
I mean, you're gonna tell me that the American Air Force was able to drop a missile into a little like Star Wars level Death Star strike. We're like dropping it into the little vent and blowing up a nuclear reactor that's underneath the ground in Iran. That we can't figure
America.
out how to do. That we can't figure out how to drone strike someone, even if they have full forewarning. Like we're the U.S. I'm sorry, we've got like the best. We've got the best military out there.
It's like we tell him he leaves his property, and we just drone strike the car. We
Yeah,
saw you the whole time. You can't run.
exactly.
You
We
know.
have satellites. We know exactly what that like. You're gonna tell me that if he moved, they wouldn't know? Like I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And then
I
What do you
mean,
guys?
yeah.
Sorry, I want to get back to topic if you guys don't mind.
but like I get the security thing, but at the same time, it's like we need to be making like if the American populace doesn't approve of something, we shouldn't be doing it, and that's that other part of financial
Here's the
interest.
argument: the American people voted for the people making these decisions. Therefore, they signed off on everything those people do.
No, no,
For at
that
least 4
is.
years, you did.
I would disagree. I think you still have to answer to the will of the people. which is why back when you saw in World War II, we didn't go to war immediately. We had to be dragged into that war. The American populace had to actually want to go to war before we did that thing. And that's how it should be. You answer to the will of the people. You are a servant of the people. And no matter what the money is, like you answer to the will of the people. And we have to stop allowing that. Oh, well, this is for your best interest, but we're not going to tell you how. But, like, at the same time, we saw everyone that just got rich. So, was it really in our best interests?
So I'm gonna agree with the LBC on this one because I think we did elect people to make these decisions on our behalf. But remember, if they make the bad decisions and they're not listening to the people, the next party is going to come into office. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Like every cycle from here on out, I think it's going to switch between Democrat and Republican. I know that's a very controversial take, but what happens is a party they get favored because another party is running everything wrong, and then the other party they run stuff wrong, and it just goes back and forth. At least the last couple presidential elections, and I don't know what's going to happen this next one. It seems like the Republicans have done fairly well so far. I can see something happening, some George Floyd type event or some like catastrophic type event that rallies like another No Kings rally on steroids, and the left figures something out. But I'm just like the guy taking notes, trying to figure this whole thing out myself. So,
And see, that's
I think last I checked, Donald Trump was at his worst approval rating ever of 36%, which
dang.
meaning it's basically his base
Uh-huh.
that still likes him. So now he can change that by midterms, of course, but if he doesn't, I am expecting a landslide, whether I like it or not, by the Democrats. And I think that's just how it's going to be. And I think we're going to see even more progressives get elected, especially after Mamdani was elected. And so it's just we're going further and further. How crazy can we get?
Let me ask you this though: JD Vance or Gavin Newsom? I think these are probably going to be the front runners at this point. If we were to decide today, I think JD Vance destroys them in a debate, and then, but if we're to compare Trump, I could agree with you on that one. But he's not going to be the competition next cycle.
I don't know about JD, man. I don't know about
really?
JD. I
He
think
did well
someone
on
else
this
is going to
debate.
come out. I think someone
really?
else is going to come out of the woodwork. Yep.
Well, this is some
I don't know
Epstein
who.
file. Y'all heard it here first. Epstein is about to get everybody smoked in office.
Something's going to. I don't even know if Gavin Newsom. I think he's kind of hot right now while doing his little Trump shtick. Sure. But once that's over, I don't know, man. I just don't think he has the messaging, nor I think a lot of people just don't like him. So I don't know. I don't think I've seen some libs or Democrats talking about how he's like winning them over, and I'm just like, yeah, for now until someone else comes along. And Bernie Sanders came out of nowhere, right? I mean, he just came out of nowhere.
I appreciate a lot of what he stands for, by the way. I think there's a lot of good. And some of it's yeah. There's a lot of things that I stand with Bernie on.
Well, when it comes to progressives, one thing that I do agree with them on is there's a whole conversation. Well, what's funny is that their solution to the government corruption that they correctly point out is more government, except for Bernie. Bernie says, Bernie's like main thing is getting money out of politics. And that's where he kind of had me back in 2016.
Sure.
I was just like, yeah, let's get the money out of politics, please. I just want that. Can we start with that? Let's just start with that. Okay. Progressive, whatever. Okay. Just libertarian, friggin', the Antichrist, whoever. Are you going to get money out of politics? Just get money out of politics. Because we got to start there. Once you go from there, everything else it becomes easier for us to see how we want the government to be run, in my opinion. But new point, what do you guys think about the revolving door of like positions? Like people like the FDA. or
Mhm.
like a politician is, a politician, they retire or whatever, resign, and then they just don't reelect or run for reelection, and they
Mhm.
go into a position like the head of the FDA or CDC or something like that, or it's someone like from corporate that gets put in those positions.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about that? Is that corruption? Can it inherently corruption, or yeah? What are your thoughts?
Yes. So I haven't thought so much about, like, I would say I'm a little experienced in answering something like this, but I would think like somebody that, let's just say a president or just has held a political position, goes into something where they can't directly benefit financially from it. I think it'd be okay. But if they know so much about stuff that nobody else knows,
Mhm.
and they're able to get a position and monetize that platform that they now hold, I think
Mhm.
there's something wrong with that. So,
Oh,
And
I
I would
think there's
agree.
a problem with people. There's been an issue with people going from the people that they regulate to then going and being heads of those things, of those entities.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
it's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, BC.
Well, and it's inherently just for profit. It is not for actually doing anything for the good of the people. Like we've seen it with the FDA over and over and over again. The reason I hound on that one is because we watched the regulatory force of the government, who's supposed to protect us from drug companies that are just there for profit. Like at the end of the day, as long as the medicine does something, they can make money off of it. They don't care about the side effects, and the government, it is supposed to protect us from that,
Mhm.
decides, okay, opiates, fine, and then you watch the head of the FDA go work for those companies. So you have the only thing you can look at that whole interaction as is corruption. You allowed this to happen. You allowed millions of people to die, become addicted, become homeless, all for money. And like that's one of those secondary parts. Whereas like if you watched, say, the head of like the drug enforcement agency decide that since they also handle firearms, they were going to make some loopholes in the legislation, and then they were going to go work for some gun company and tell them how to beat all the regulations for capital, for nothing but profit. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
corruption.
Sure.
You're not doing this for the best interest of the American people. And that's one of the few things that the federal government should actually be doing, is like protecting us from companies that only have the interest of profit. And that's what most of these companies do, is they work for profit, and
Mhm.
whatever will get them profit they're going to be okay with. And that's that one part where you have to regulate capitalism. Unregulated capitalism is not good. We've watched it, and
Mhm.
but we just need to get that back under control. To watch a politician go from here I am at, I was elected, made a bunch of money here because I knew the insider trading, and now I'm going to go work for some regulatory force, and then from that regulatory force, go work for the private sector that I was regulating. That's all not okay.
Yeah.
So, is corruption the result of bad people or a bad incentive structure? Is it just the incentives? Is it bad people, or is it a mixture of both?
I think it's I think it's definitely both. Now, if you were to say like the president of the United States cannot own a business or do something specific like have stocks, I don't know. Um, we would have a pretty rough selection of people because everyone would be scared to go and run for that position because they got to sacrifice so much. So I think this is where you have the issue with Congress. A lot of people wouldn't want to go be in Congress if they can't own stocks. So there has to be some sort of like middle ground, because I don't think everybody is inherently bad. Think of like RFK, for example. I think I think a lot of Americans actually appreciate what he's doing. He's actually putting up a stance against certain things that have been untested for a very long time now. And even people on the left are starting to buy into that agenda. But if he can't go then create like a new medicine or something to help society for the better, then he probably wouldn't be in the position he's in. So I think it is a mixture, like you said, LBC, of people and then incentives. And I think some people are going to take advantage of
The
it.
system. Yeah.
Right. And then some people I think are legit there because they actually care.
I think it's less and less because people actually care. Because
Sure.
at the end of the day, the people that actually care aren't really making the money by doing the thing. Whereas I would say that while you're going to go be a politician, um, during that time, you're not allowed. You specifically are not allowed to own stocks, and anyone that you directly communicate with, familial wise, is not allowed to purchase stocks on your behalf.
Yeah, but like, how are you going to stop? So Nancy Pelosi, you're not allowed to buy
Technically, that's
stock.
already a rule. It's
Her
called the Stock
husband,
Act.
sure, her husband goes to buy it. Can you tell her she can't talk it to her husband? Like, I just don't get how you regulate it. That's the issue. Like, that insider trading is always going to be there no matter what.
As long as we allow it. That's the thing.
Well,
It's
how do you
like
stop it though?
grassroots movements. It's like we're going to have to put someone in. We're going to have to put people in place that are okay with changing up the system. Where
Can
it's
we?
like,
Can I get a?
meh,
Is it insider trading to be privy to information before anyone else?
yes.
Like, as far as like,
I think so.
if you're not making a direct impact on what's being done, like say passing a bill, but you do know that something is coming up and that this information is public, but hardly anyone pays attention to it because no one watches C-SPAN all day. I'm serious. Like, NVIDIA didn't go popping off until after the CHIPS Act was passed.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
So
Mhm.
it's like, but I mean, she knew, but it was her biggest gain, or at least her husband knew. But of course, he knew. He's in a hedge fund.
Mhm.
So I think insider, where it's kind of corrupt to me. I mean, yeah, you're getting inside information on possible deals that might get made or whatever, and so you can go and buy this stock or sell a stock that you already own that you know might start losing money because of whatever you're about to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's a little messed up that they have that insider knowledge, but I mean, if they're not having a direct impact themselves on said stock or company or industry, then I don't know. I don't
Still a
know.
no-go. Still a no-go.
Yeah,
So like what Nancy
but-
Pelosi was. So Nancy Pelosi was not directly involved with the communications deal with Palo Alto, but she knew about it before any of the American populace did, and she bought Palo Alto. That's corruption, point blank. She didn't specifically buy it, her husband did. But her husband could not have known about these secret workings of the communications that the government was about to fund because it was all under the wraps. It was more of a security thing. And y'all just bought Palo Alto before it skyrocketed? Sorry, no. That's corruption, point blank, period.
I mean, that's an easy case though. So we're talking about her husband. What if it was friend number, 50 that she met whenever she was in second grade that she just texted? You're never going to be able to find that link to that person. So, unless you're like all up in her phone, seeing every single message she sends and following her because she might talk to people, it's not so easy as it's just her husband. That's easy. But we don't know who else she's talking to, and I that's the part that I don't think is going to be regulated, or it can be regulated because
Well,
at that,
this is the big
I
problem.
think all of that should be open and available to the public. Like you are a public servant. All of your messages should be auditable by the public. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all of the like you have a government phone that you use, and then you have your personal phone that's like for
well, the
work.
personal phone's
Like
what they're going to use.
But like at the same time, it's like there needs to be some layer where that's also audited by a regulatory force that we choose. Like, if you're going to be a public servant, you're going to serve the public 100%, or you're not going to serve the public. And that's
Sure.
another part of how you get financial interest out of it. Because like you're not allowed to make you're not allowed to make these moves. That's like you're using information that the rest of us don't have, and that's not acceptable.
Here's the problem. who's going to sign the bill? The very
and
people that are benefiting from it.
see, not
Um,
not any of the people that are currently in office, which is
yeah,
why we actually need to have a grassroots movement here.
A
we
DAO.
actually have something that's already called the Stock Act,
Hmm.
and it's supposed to bar members of Congress from benefiting on any insider information. The problem with it is that it lacks any real teeth. You literally get fined like a few hundred or a few $1,000s if you get caught, and that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all that happens to you.
And
Of
we
course,
know,
Congress wrote the bill.
sure, and we know it works. Good, like the richest 19-year-old, Barron Trump. Like how, like we have Vitalik Buterin who created Ethereum when he was like 17 years old, and like actually changing the world. And you got this 19-year-old that hasn't done anything, by the way, and not to disrespect the family, but like it just goes to
It's
show if
just
you have
true.
money and you have insider information, you will become richer than anybody, even if they are innovating stuff. So
See, and that's where that problem really comes to show, where it's like if we just eliminate that completely, like no, it's not going to be pretty. But are you serving the public interests, or not? And that's all we should accept. You're serving the public interests, and you're not doing anything for yourself. Afterwards, sure, go run your company, make your money. But like while you're in office, if you have a company and you go run for office and you get elected, that needs to be put on pause. Your full focus needs to be serving the American public. You can give the brother your company, give your aunt the company, whatever, but your hands need to be off that.
So, like per the Constitution, a president cannot use their podium or their office to monetize, which is why, you guys have probably seen my post. I've been super vocal about Donald Trump and launching that Trump token a day before he took office, and then incentivizing people to go to Mar-a-Lago instead of the White House. Like these are like little small things that he does because he understands the system. He takes advantage of it. And it frustrates me because this is the picture that crypto paints. People are watching what he's doing. He's personally making money. All of his whole family, Eric Trump just became a billionaire. Like all of them are making money off this stuff. And we're holding, never mind. Anyways, that was my quick little vent. It's just a little frustrating watching this guy.
And it's side by side with it. It's not me actually benefiting. It's my son. Like no, and that's why I say it needs to be that politician in their familial ties. Because
it's WLFI, not me.
Yep, exactly. And that's not an acceptable excuse that we need to allow as the populace. Sorry, it's not okay that your son becomes a billionaire just because his daddy's in the White House and is pushing for crypto legislation, and before we even know anything is going on, oh, look at this, we're going to put this bill in place. We already got this deal in the backworks. As soon as it's legal, boom, now we just did a $2 billion deal. Not acceptable. That's why I was never a fan of Trump being involved with crypto, though. It's the biggest grift ever.
The more you know about crypto, you understand this guy. And I even made a video about a little bit of speculation with the whole insider information going into October 16th. That whole event, like there was an insider in that White House. They also knew something about Binance. But there's a lot of different things. I post about 4 or 5 different things that are clearly manipulation from that administration towards crypto.
Trump doesn't even know who CZ is. Crux.
He doesn't
even know who he is.
He got asked by a reporter. He got asked by a reporter about so why did you pardon CZ? Like he did something, and then he's like, you're basically fake news. And then he didn't explain. He switched to an attack on the reporter saying you're fake news.
It's like you don't even know anything about crypto. That's what he said.
I think that's one of the worst parts about the Constitution is pardoning. I think because honestly, they have to go through a judicial system. They get sentenced. We're talking about inmates here. and then at any moment, without an explanation, a president can free you. And I think that's just broken. I think that's broken. I love the Constitution. I love the Bill of Rights. There's some stuff that I do not agree with, and pardoning is one thing. So,
I don't even know why they even came about to begin with. The whole pardoning. Was that after the Civil War? Was that actually part of the original Constitution?
I believe it was later added on, and it had more to do with that the Civil War. You know, it was to give grace so that people could just come back to you, be a part of the United States, and we're all going to move on. But, like, for specific actions, sure. But, like, at the end of the day, I think if you're going to pardon someone, this has to be at the will of the American people. Where it's like, no, Biden, you can't just go pardon your son so that he doesn't get prosecuted by the...
What's our judicial system for then? Like, if a president could just do whatever he wants, we could just say, forget the judicial system. That's where I have an issue with it.
The judicial system is part of the problem.
Could be. That's much easier to fit. Well, I think both of those are fairly easy to fix.
The judicial system, I think, isn't too bad. There's no money that we know of. If there is, it's all under the table. So,
well, I mean, they're supposed to recuse themselves from anything they might have a financial interest in, but they don't always do that, and then they get caught on it later on. Like, all of these things that, like, you should be booted right after that. As soon as you find that, you serve for life. Nope, not anymore, bud. Get out. Like, these are all the things that we need to, we have to stop allowing. Because they're going to keep doing whatever we allow them to do. And that's the big issue here. It's like, we've made it legal. the heck? We're not going to allow this. So what we have to do as a people is actually push for things where we actually vote on them.
I definitely have an issue with something that CCM, shout out CCM, Keith in the chat said preemptive pardons is an issue. Preemptive pardons are absurd. Like, pardons are one thing, but preemptive pardons? Oh, you do a future crime? It's all right. It's all good. What are we doing here?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, definitely. Because it's like, okay, well, hey, me and all my buddies did some really fucked shit while we were in office together. So when I leave, since I know that you're gonna get investigated, here's a preemptive pardon. The fuck? That's not okay. And like, that's a power that definitely needs to be put back in check.
And if you look at the record of presidents that have pardoned people, Donald Trump pardoned Lil Wayne, Kodak Black. These are all people that that have a platform who have talked positively about him. So it wasn't him, pardoning, I don't know, Billie Eilish, or just somebody who's talked negatively about the right, So there's clearly a motive there, and I think it's unfair.
Oh yeah. Well, like, and that's that other part. Is like, people are definitely paying for pardons, and like, this is not the system that we should be okay with. We should not be okay with people with more money being able to get away with things that are not okay for the everyday citizen to do.
I agree.
And
that's like one thing I want the audience to notice. One thing very clear about this entire conversation thus far is that neither one of us is blaming one side or the other. Because this is a system-wide issue, and because this system is the issue. So I just wanted to put that in people's minds. It's like, because the party politics is what keeps a thing going. It literally is what keeps 100%. It going.
Yeah.
So the more we come together and recognize these core issues, whether or not you want universal health care and I don't, whether or not you want universal tuition and I don't, doesn't matter. None of that matters until we get the money and the influence, the money influence out of politics. That's because we can't ever get what we want. The people until that happens. They've been cock blocking us basically for decades now. They don't really give a shit about us. It's like every now and then Democrats are like, all right, here's some crumbs. It's like, oh, thanks. That's only going to cost me future me later. That's all.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Or like the Republicans come along and they're like, here's a nice little tax break for you, but we're going to take it away in 3 years. Awesome. That was super enjoyable.
Yeah, they sunset the tax breaks, but not only that, they hardly ever cut the spending. So that just makes the deficit and the debt bigger. So it's just
and they
like,
buy votes with $2,000 stimuluses right before midterms.
Oh yeah.
This is crazy. This is a crazy environment we're in.
I think one of those ways where you've like, how do we actually get that to change? And it's like, instead of just being like, well, I'm gonna vote blue no matter who, and I'm gonna vote red no matter what, like we actually have to make them pay. And it's like, okay, well, you didn't do the things you promised. So guess what? We're going to put in this independent candidate. Oh, Mr. Republican, we've always voted Republican here. You actually didn't do a single freaking thing that you said you were going to do. So guess what? Mr. Green Party candidate over here is going to get a chance now. We have to make them pay because we can't just keep voting them in.
I think you said the forbidden word. So it's been said twice. So independent and then libertarian. So that's probably how, we would most, consider ourselves as. We have very limited power here. We know that, all this money is going to, fund different concepts. But something that's always confused me is, how does somebody's view on abortion also reflect the same as their LGBTQ stance, which also reflects the same as their, border policies? There's so many different things that all get wrapped up into one party. It's like, why can't you just individually think of these things separately? And that's why I consider myself an independent, is because this should not be a one size fits all. And that's, those are just my thoughts.
Well,
I 100% agree. It's, the parties, I don't know. I think people are much more complicated than that. But the funny thing is that you can almost, with a lot of people, go line by line and they'll be like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Yep, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
If they're like a Democrat, right? Or Republican, either one. But it's independents are the ones that independence is actually growing.
Sure.
Each election cycle, we get more and more independents. And it's not an accident.
Do you think we were indoctrinated though? Like the whole border policy, do you think that was specifically chosen, by one of the sides, and then it all just gets chosen?
Oh, it was in the 90s. I read a book on it actually, or I read a book that mentioned that. It basically became a political football, if you will, to where they just toss it back and forth. The Republicans, this was like a Republican strategy type deal. We're going to make the border an issue without ever fixing the actual border. And that's pretty much what they did for forever, until Trump came along and was like, well, we're just going to build a freaking wall. And there's a lot of reason. There's a reason why Republicans themselves, a lot of Republicans, weren't fully on board with Trump's border policy, because they knew if he solved the issue, that wouldn't be something they could run on later. Because it's always immigrants are taking your jobs and they're bringing in drugs and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. The talking points are real, like the real problems. But that was their thing. If you solve that, then what? Well, now you got to move on to something else to solve.
Sure.
And so I don't know. That's what they do, man.
There's only so many cats and dogs you can eat, so you got to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like the government doesn't have a whole bunch of issues to really handle. And if you would just handle, if you would just handle the issues that need to be handled, you'd get so much more grace for it. Yeah, there's not money to be made on it, but if you remove the financial interest, the government can actually just solve problems as they arise, and then leave it.
out of nowhere, like abortion. Nobody was really talking much about
Mhm.
abortion back in like 2020. This time it was huge. It was a huge thing because certain states were allowed to do certain things and people hated that, whatever. No matter what, if we solved everything, something's going to pop up big, and then one of the sides is going to take it. Even crypto and AI are the two things that right now it's bipartisan. I'm thankful for that. We're figuring it out. One of the parties is eventually going to FUD this, probably the left. The other party is going to take it, and then we'll see. But I could also see the right FUDding AI because they don't want to lose jobs and they don't want society to change. So, these are just speculation, but we can try to solve things. Stuff's going to continue to pop up every 4 years.
Can I read these off for you guys real quick?
Go ahead.
George Washington's farewell address said, "The common and continual mischiefs of the spirit of party are sufficient to make it the interest and duty of a wise people to discourage and restrain it. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another. The alternate domination of one faction over another is itself a frightful disposition." That's George Washington as anti-political party. John Adams, "There is nothing I drool so much as a division of the republic into two great parties in opposition to each other." Thomas Jefferson, "In my many years, I have come to a conclusion that one useless man is a shame, two is a law firm, and those are more, or three or more is a Congress." Thomas Jefferson said, "If I could not go to heaven, but with a party, I would not go there at all." Thomas Jefferson, that was to Francis Hopkinson. He wrote to George Washington, "The duty of an upright administration is to pursue its course steadily, to know nothing of those family dissensions." So referring to emerging party splits. James Madison, "The latest causes of faction are sown in the nature of man. A zeal for different opinions have, in turn, divided mankind into parties, inflamed them with mutual animosity." Madison didn't think parties could be eliminated, but he warned heavily about their dangers. And then finally, we have Alexander Hamilton to George Washington, "The spirit of party serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration." So these are all founding fathers. What was it called? The Federalist. They're very anti-party because this sows the division in the country, for one. But for two, that's, we really don't really need more than that. That's the worst part about it. It's just that it sows division, but it keeps us split, and it puts us into different boxes that we may not even really belong in.
Right.
So I don't know. And it also creates this faux competition that isn't really there because they're all just playing a game. It seems like, I definitely think a lot of it is a game. And, but anyways, I just had to get that out there about the founding fathers being very anti-party, but
I'm very anti-party as well, unless we have like more than just two. If we had
Fair
more,
enough.
if we actually had more than just two, and there was something like the UK government where there's actually like 5 different parties in power and nobody actually has a majority, then it's like, yeah, you can actually kind of
Right.
make that work.
I mean,
But,
if we can split up
the
large
American
corporations,
party-
why can't we split up political parties?
Fair enough. The American Party, Elon Musk, I think last year he mentioned something about it, and then he said he's going to not do it. But that was the one time that I was super excited. I'm like, we have a third party about to challenge the system. We got MAGA. We have, liberals that are going to have to try to beat this. And if there's anybody in the world with enough influence to do so, it's Elon Musk. So
and then Trump called and was like, "Hey, bud, I heard you're trying to do this thing. How about slap on this EV regulation? Would you like that?"
Was he announced it before the EV? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, at the time. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because he stepped away from that American Party very quickly.
What really needs to happen is more of a unity of like I know the name has been polluted a bit, but actually America First. And like
Mm.
this America First needs to have progressives that actually care about the cost of living and getting the
Mhm.
financial interest out of politics, and the American First who actually cares about all the same things. Where it's like you have the more right wing that like it doesn't want financial interest in politics, and they wanted to clean out the swamp, and none of that happened. We were just lied to, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna clean out the swamp because we're just gonna swamp up the waters even more. It's like now it's just 10 times stinkier, but you don't know where you're stepping. Like this isn't okay. The American people are demanding things, and we're not getting them, and like we're slowly starting to see an awakening, but like we need to get over the you're left, I'm right, you're middle, so that means
Mhm.
you're also right or whatever. Like if you're not me, if you're not with me, you're a fascist, and if you're not
Mhm.
with me, you're a communist. Like, come on now.
You
Like
know,
we
BC and I have with Crux. BC and I have talked about this before about how you know the federal government should be extremely limited in its reach,
Mhm.
and that we have even gone as far as to say socialism could even work on a really local level,
Sure.
and it kind of is already a thing, but
Mhm.
in a way, but it could be that. Like, if you want to do that in your little small town, whatever, have fun. Like,
Mhm.
let's see what
Right.
happens.
Yeah,
Or in New York, let's just see. We can see what happens.
for sure.
You know, people are worried. They're like, "Well, what if communism spreads across the country?" And I'm like, first of all, that it's just not gonna happen,
It's
bro.
not gonna happen. Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. But it's going to stay in New York. We're going to see what happens. It's the largest city in the country, so we'll
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. Whatever he ends up doing. I I was kind of surprised to see Trump kind of glazing Mamdani in the Oval Office. It's kind of weird.
Mhm.
But I think they both kind of hate the media a little bit at the same
Mhm.
together. I think they have a mutual hatred for the media.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird, but it's not. I think it will probably fail, but I mean, it depends on how you do things, or I don't know. I don't know. It's just I think very locally that can work. What
Yeah.
do you think about that, Crux?
Yeah, I'm all for small government, as small as possible. So I like cities actually, then I like states, and then eventually federal government. And the cool part about this is you can trial and error things. For
Hmm.
example, about abortion. If Texas says you can't have abortions in our state, well, you got 49 other states, that you can get an abortion in. And then this gives Americans the option to go move to different parts of the country. I'm all about small government, and I think that's something that we don't give enough credit for or enough power to. Is the people in the area know that area the best. So
Mm.
if New York needs free transportation, which I'm completely for, by the way, I think the subways, the buses, all that, in my opinion, should be free. I've spent a good amount of time in New York to understand how the flow works. I mean, there's definitely going to be dangerous cases where maybe homeless are on the metros and stuff like that. But whenever you bring something like that, you have to have something to counteract it, like maybe added security on the metros and these things. So always, in my opinion, give as much power to the local government as possible. And then eventually, whenever you need everybody in the country to, I don't know, pay taxes or something like that, then you get involved at the federal level.
Well,
But
like we did with. Well, the thing is, we did that with income tax. It was the whole reason it came about,
Mhm.
allegedly, is because of World War II, so that we could fund the war, or
Mhm.
World War one of the two. And they just decided, I
Keep
think
it.
we'll keep
It's
it.
kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 which
yeah.
is when you saw the federal government actually exploding in its size, which
Hmm.
is something that we kind of need to do away with. You know,
There's something
if
about that.
hmm it's
Sure.
quite strange how if you give the government more money, they want to grow to spend more of that money. Weird, but
So,
like
so yeah. So you're for like state taxes. I take
Mhm.
it, or like city taxes, just not federal taxes.
Yes. So like
Okay.
I'd be okay
Makes
with
sense.
spending like if we had a smaller, like say 5% federal tax. This is funding the military, this is funding public roadways, and this is
Mhm.
funding keeping the border secure, and then maybe a few other things where it's like, oh, we need to feed people, and like
Mhm.
the outliers of people that like didn't have care when they're older or they're disabled or something like that, sure. But on the most part, I think all these other issues need to be at the state level, where you can actually
Mhm.
be in charge of like who who's in charge of the money, how's that money getting spent in my local area. That'll also
Mhm.
remove a big part of that financial interest because
Mhm.
you don't have the George Bush administration being butt buddies with Halliburton and creating a war. You know, like that's not
Yeah.
okay. How does the vice president's company just directly benefit, and they were in the same hedge fund with the
Mhm.
Saudis who also benefited? Like that's all not okay. But that's
Yeah.
only possible when you have a massive federal government.
Yeah. So I was watching one of your streams, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And you were talking about very local government type stuff, but it could even get smaller. So for
Hmm.
example, like I believe in separation of church and state. But I think churches do a good amount in the country to be able to help with certain things in certain communities. But you brought up something that I had never thought of, which was homeowners associations or HOAs, and your involvement within the people next door. That's huge. They know you better than, I don't know, some politician that's not living your lifestyle. That's for sure. So I'm all about the people in the roads, people near you, and local communities.
Well,
Oh,
people got to pay attention to, like, people can be upset at AOC all they want, but at the end of the day, she's not my
uh,
politician. She's not my representative.
Mhm.
So like, they could. It's like, I don't. I mean, if that borough in New York wants to do that, I mean, that's fine. That's their prerogative.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think we need to be. I think a lot of people don't even know who their state representatives are, and
Sure.
who their district representative is, and like, they all want to hold Trump's feet to the fire or Biden's feet to the fire
Mm.
or
Mhm.
Obama's or Bush and all this stuff. What's
Yeah.
your own constituent doing in Congress? What are they doing?
I'll
Do you
tell
know?
you, our
Are you
governor.
paying attention?
So I'm in Texas. Our governor, he gets a ton of flack. I'm talking Greg
oh,
Abbott. We are talking like this guy's banning like uh I think it's the Brotherhood of Muslim Association. I forgot exactly the acronym for it, but there's some pretty controversial stuff going on right now at the state level. But
hmm
I don't think like people know Gavin Newsom. Like we know some of the governors of the bigger states. But I completely agree with you. Like I don't even know like who's running El Paso. That's the city that I'm currently in, which is something I should be paying attention to. But I think it's because they don't get enough power. If they had a lot more power to actually make changes in the area, I think I'd be a little more focused on that. But yeah, so I
Well,
think the power needs to come back down.
well, they're literally your district's lobby,
Mhm.
essentially. They're going there to fight for the people of their district. And if the people in Washington, well, that's the thing. It's really difficult because, I mean, you got Congress. It's like, what, 500 something,
oh,
500 something people, 500 something districts.
Mm.
I can't. How how is anybody supposed to keep up with all of that? You can't.
No,
You can
yeah.
barely know 150 people in your personal life, like really know them.
Mhm.
So get to know your district's politician, your governor, get to know your local people, and stop paying attention to anybody else. It doesn't really matter
Mhm.
because you
Right.
just want to you can the point of the overall overarching point is you can only control what you can control, and
Mhm.
and that's what you can control. You can't
Mhm.
you can shout at AOC all you want, but it's not going to do you any good if she keeps getting elected
Mhm.
by her constituents. But my thing is I and I am a voter berater, and I don't care what anybody says. I am super pissed off at voters just as much as I am the system itself, because I don't understand how Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer or any or Lindsey Graham or any of these freaking knuckleheads continue to get reelected. I don't understand it. And there's only, everybody's like, well, it's because money is behind them. I'm like, they have to win in their district. Are they in a district with people that only have money? Okay, if that's the case, I'm okay. Maybe that's what's going on. But I think much more likely, a lot of these people, they come from districts where people just aren't politically engaged. They're not paying attention.
Sure.
And it's just like, why are you not going out there and voting these people out of office? I don't understand it.
So for someone that travels a lot, New York, like I can understand how Mamdani got elected, even though I don't agree with most of what he stands for. I can understand. I think what we try to do is put ourselves in that same shoe, but we don't understand the day to day that person's going through, and we try to throw an overall like this is the right answer on it. And I know we bashed a lot of things that America, like the system, is built on. I can't name a better country in the world right now that gives you the opportunity to have 50 different opportunities to run stuff, but also even at the city level, things can be different. So I know we've been bashing, and I'm all about America, what we've been founded on. I don't think we're headed, and I guess the right way. And I can see it. Yeah, we're all definitely pro-America, but it's like, I think it's dope that we have these opportunities for Mamdani to go show it does socialism work. I doubt it, but we'll see. Every other time in the past, it's failed, by the way, so maybe he's the first person to get this thing. And also capitalism by itself doesn't work. You need a little bit of socialism in there to go to bat for the low man. So
see, and I think you brought up a good point where it's like we keep putting in the same people. And I think a bunch of that has to do with, well, there's two choices and you choose the lesser of two evils. That's a logical fallacy. That is a logical fallacy at its roots. Because it's like if you choose this evil, one person dies. If you choose this evil, one person dies. What's the difference between the two? A person died. So we get into these blinders where there's left and there's right. But then we forget that there's also the Green Party, there's the independent candidate, there's the like here in Nebraska, there's a weed party. So it's like there's so many more candidates than just left and right. And if the left and the right aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, what we voted them in to do, then maybe those parties just need to die.
Sure, I mean, they do.
Trolley problem, right?
So like
basically the trolley problem, right?
Yeah.
That whole ethical
so in that one, there's a track. You can choose to pull the lever and one person dies, or you pull it the other way and the 5 people die.
Well, it's a train's going down a track, and you've got 5 people on a track. You've got one person on a separate track. You could pull the lever and have it divert to the one person, or you just go ahead and let it kill the 5 people. So it's an ethiks question about, should you get involved at all, or should you just let things play out as they are? And because it's all about, it's a moral thing. It's about, are you utilitarian, or are you just kind of just like let destiny be what destiny is, or what? Because it's like, if you pull that lever, you have effectively killed that one person. But if you don't touch the lever, did you kill anybody?
I mean, they're destined to die, and you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that gets pretty complicated when you throw kids in there, like 5 kids or 1 adult, or 1 kid, 5 adults. My bad.
Yep.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So,
but like at the same time, it's like, but what if there was 3 other tracks? And those tracks didn't have anyone on them.
So
which is
Yeah,
more
here's
how
why.
our political system is
Here's
ran.
why, like the Green Party, for example, is not going to work. I mean, the Green Party was big back in like 2016 or
Mhm.
something like that, which when ESG FUD was everywhere, eventually, even last bull run, we had like Bitcoin, like Elon Musk was fudding it. This cycle, there has been like like what happened to ESG FUD? Like the Green Party would have easily died out. And I don't think you can create a party based off of one thing because you're competing with parties that have like 20 different agendas. So like your one agenda versus their 20, they're going to smoke you every time.
Well,
The American Party, to me, that's much better. We don't have to focus on green or weed or any of these things. We focus on the people. Yeah.
I was going to say the Green Party ran on the Green New Deal, which is basically their version of the New Deal from FDR, except like more modernized. And so,
Mm.
and it's just, to me, I just hear, oh, more government. No, no, I don't. But they base it all off of,
Yeah.
like what's better for the environment. And it's just kind of like, I mean, sure, you can do that, but like, why?
Mhm.
But Jill Stein is she's out of her mind. But it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of people that don't like Jill Stein at all on the left. Like they're just like, nah, she's just a grifter. That's all she is. But yeah, they're like, but a lot of people are like, why do you keep running this person? She keeps losing. And then you've got the Libertarian Party running Nazi ads. Like, what are y'all doing? Well, we're just trying to be a little crazy. It's just like y'all are definitely being a little crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Parties are parties. I am much more into ideas. The thing is like, I don't have to choose a lesser of two evils, but I can choose the more that fits my ideas. I don't know about evil. I mean, what are we considering evil when we say the lesser of two evils? Is their belief or their ideas, are they inherently actually like evil, or do we just think that they're bad, they won't work? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, when I hear the lesser of two evils, it's just like, which person does a little less corruptness?
Yep.
Since
Yep.
they all play the same game, they're all
It's all
taking the
corruption.
money, they're all like it. That's what I hear. And at
Mm,
the end of the day, I think that that's, like I said, a logical fallacy. Because if you
Mhm.
choose the lesser of two evils, you still chose evil. And I
mm.
think that we should be
Mhm.
choosing good. And
Sure.
that's not a hard ask. I'm not even asking for you to like do things that I believe in. I'm just asking for you to not do bad things.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this last presidential cycle was super weird. It was definitely a record of people that I've heard say, I'm only choosing Trump because of this, because Biden is their candidate, or Harris, or I'm only choosing Harris because Trump is a candidate. So it was clearly not ran off of what people actually went. And then the second part of that caveat was, well, I'm not going to waste my vote on a libertarian or an independent or whatever, because there's no chance of it winning. So many people have that mindset right now that
Mm-hmm.
there has to be in my opinion, a huge figure. Donald Trump didn't win based off of what he ran for. He won because he was a huge figure from The Apprentice. Like everybody knew who this dude was since the 80s, really, or maybe even before that. Not sure, but there has to be a controversial figure, such as an Elon Musk or possibly a Joe Rogan. I don't know, that is more moderate, that is able to think independently, or possibly libertarian. So,
I think Trump. I don't. I think if Trump didn't run as a Republican, I don't think he would have won.
sure, that's
Because
fair enough.
I think you get a lot of backing when you do that,
Uh-huh.
especially like Fox News and stuff.
Hmm.
But I will tell you that I would much prefer. I want to see people. I want a candidate that doesn't take money from the or from in super PACs,
Mhm.
and I want to see town halls. I want to see town halls more than I want to see debates. I mean, debates are cool and all. You can kind of see how they perform under pressure, whatever. But debates, they're really nothing. They hardly ever do anything to sway an election.
Mhm.
But town halls, on the other hand, town halls, you actually get to the people and talk to the people, and they ask you questions, and you don't know what those questions are going to be. And
Mhm.
you've got to be able. Now, that's, to me, that's more pressure than taking on the other guy, like,
Mhm.
because you're actually talking to the people that actually matter, and you're having to answer their questions.
Mhm.
And so it's that's what I would like to see moving forward. Is get the money out of politics, just pretty much all of it, and I'd like to see town halls for elections, and I'd like to see people focus more on their local governments.
I think
And
I think
yeah,
people would be okay paying taxes to have politicians run if they were actually coming to like town halls, where it's like,
Sure.
okay, well, I'm actually gonna hit like the big cities and
mhm,
these states, and I'm
Mhm.
actually gonna have a sit down conversation like Obama did. You know, that's how
Mhm.
Obama won. He went in there and he had town halls. And it's like
Mhm.
I think people would actually be okay paying that out where it's like I actually want to hear what you got to say and I want to put your feet to the fire and see if you actually
Mhm.
like are for what you say you are you actually going to do what's best for the American people because like
Mhm.
what's going on now no one's doing what's best for the American people.
well,
Mhm.
this is what really pissed me off about Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn bringing Trump on and giving him a hot stone massage. Like, they hardly asked
Yeah.
any freaking hard hitting questions,
Mhm.
and they just took an answer to a question that
Without
that
challenging
didn't
it.
even, yeah, without challenging it, like
Mhm.
without any real explanation. It was just, they were so softball, and it was just, it's like, guys, come, what are we doing? Like, I know that if Harris came on here, y'all would have been grilling her. Why aren't we
Right.
grilling Trump
Mhm.
too? Like, I don't care if you like him, you still got to grill him. That's
Sure.
what you got to do. You got to keep,
Yeah.
even
That's
the
what I like
people
about
you like, hold their feet to the fire, man.
Tucker Carlson does a good job at grilling people.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's much better than a Joe Rogan. You know.
He's become he's a little surprised. He surprised me a little bit,
Oh, big
a
time.
lot
I
lately.
I could not stand him on Fox News. I used to just
Mhm.
like anytime I would change as soon as I see him.
Oh,
Now, ever since he went to Russia and did the whole thing, he makes a little more sense in some of the stuff he brings up. So
Yeah, I
I
didn't
don't
care for
know.
the Russian propaganda episode, but
Sure.
his interviews I like. His interviews I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty good.
to like go out there though and actually like yeah of course they're not going to let you ask whatever you want to ask because it's
Hmm.
not America. I mean they don't have free speech over there, but like the
Mhm.
fact that you're even like willing to do something like that shows that you're very open to having a conversation with anyone,
Mhm.
and that's what we need is like more conversations and less talking past one another because at
Mhm.
the end of the day a lot of these problems are solvable. They might not make everyone happy, but we can make the best choice for the most people going from the bottom up.
Mhm. I'm surprised we went almost an hour and a half without mentioning the word Israel. I know Super PAC, Super PACs, Super PACs was brought
Stop!
up,
Stop!
and
Stop!
I was
Stop!
just waiting. I was
Stop!
just
Stop!
waiting.
What are you doing?
I
Stop!
waited, till the end,
Stop!
but
Chuck,
I'm about to
stop!
get us banned.
Well,
Stop!
so I thought about going down that train,
Yeah.
but I was like, well, how quickly do we want to get this channel
Oh, that's my
ghosted?
bad. Okay, we could clip this, clip this, clip this.
We're just
Well, I
talking
mean,
about juice.
yeah,
Juice.
I mean, I do think it's quite interesting though, on that note, to see both the extreme left and both the extreme right be in unison on this issue. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, when did the progressives become America first?
Hmm.
And that's why I'd really like to see the progressive end, who has a lot of the same thoughts as like your more America First right wing,
You mean the
Hmm.
people
come
that
to part.
hate God and love Muslims? Those people?
But I'm saying on on the more social issues, instead like the things where they just want people to have affordable health care, and they
Hmm.
want people to be able to afford a house, and they
To
want
not get
people to
bombed.
be able to afford their grocery bill, and you pair that with the right wing where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have a secure border, and yeah, we're gonna have a strong military, and
Hmm.
yes, we're going to have a rule of law. Both of those things together, killer party idea.
Sure.
I think we kind of limit ourselves, to be quite frank. We're human beings. We created economics and economies. We created capitalism. We can we can do whatever we want, man. If you have value in something or see value in something, we can use that. I mean, we could let it run at least 100 years. We'll see what happens. I mean, it'll probably fail, but I got some tulips. You know what I'm saying? I got
Yeah.
some tulips. I heard they're very rare now,
Tulip mania.
but
Um,
no, I'm definitely, yeah, I'm right there with you, BC. It's like, why can't we just do the would you let's start off simple, okay? Let's get back to the basics, okay? Let's kind of scrap a bunch of this stuff that we've done over the past, 50 years or 100 years.
Oh.
Federal Reserve. um, let's kind of get rid of a whole bunch of things, and then we can. I think if we go back to the Federal Reserve and we
mm.
abolish the Federal Reserve, let's just say we abolish it.
Oh my
How
gosh.
do you think things play out from there? Like, do
Well,
you think things get better? I mean,
yes.
at first it'd be kind of crazy, but would they get better in the long run?
Yeah. So first things, I don't think we should go back too. I think like Jim Crow would be a good time to start. Let's not go back too far. With the Federal Reserve, I think with the monetary network that like Bitcoin has created, or just blockchains in general, there has been something that's presented that's able to, back dollars. So you're not just printing them out of thin air. Um, but at that point, a lot goes out the window. I could see markets crashing. The Federal Reserve is what props us because there's a system that allows liquidity to be pushed in very quickly. But if everything is like very scarce, like a gold or a Bitcoin, it takes forever for stuff to happen, which is why we got off the standard. So I know it sounds weird, but until the US dollar is completely annihilated, which I think will happen in the next 20, 30 years, even if that, I think the Federal Reserve is fine until the US dollar has been replaced by a superior currency.
We got to wean ourselves off of it. I don't
See,
think it
and
Yeah.
could be like super dramatic or anything. I think it would have to be like a set plan. And I
Mhm.
don't even know if that plan could be public,
uh,
because then you start getting like a run on the banks and stuff.
mhm.
But
You
I
got a
think I
Bernie
think
Madoff
yeah,
2.0.
I
yeah,
think I think you would need like a 5 year plan for a transition period where it's like, hey, instead of printing dollars in infinitum, where we have these government interests that really don't need to be a part of the federal government. And here's the bill. The Federal Reserve buys that. They sell the debt. Like that
Mhm.
system, it's shown itself not to work
they already created the plan, BC. Don't you know Bitcoin is NSA?
anymore.
I,
We've gone down that
I'm
one a
telling you,
bunch.
bro. I'm
yeah,
telling you, bro.
I'm right there with you, LB. I don't know about NSA. I think it was strategically created by people that understand,
Mhm.
where the world's going to, and there's no way
Yeah.
around it.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah.
And it's all going digital. And we just need something that's hard backed. Something
Mhm.
that, yes, it might be a little slower, but the slowness at points is going to be a little better. Your
But
growth can still happen. You just split down the numbers a little more divisibly. So instead of having a penny, now you got a quarter of a penny. Now you got a tenth of a penny, but your buying power would stay the same. So you just
Well, I still
divide it
think
down
it's
further.
I think it's perfectly fine to have your base layer, I think it's perfectly fine to have a standard, like a gold or a Bitcoin, and then you can expand on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
L2s,
perfectly fine to me.
L3s.
Sure.
Whatever it is,
Mhm.
fiat. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. Fiat works perfectly fine as a medium of exchange. The
Physical
issue is
cash.
that it's not backed by anything. It's
Sure.
just,
Sure.
and they can just print it out of thin air, and people
Mhm.
store their value in it, and that's why that's the issue, is
Mhm.
that's the store of value, and it's a reserve currency, which I don't even know, guys. I think a reserve currency should be a I don't know, something maybe a little more decentralized, that no single entity can manipulate or any kind of way, can just print out of thin air. I think if we're going to have a global economy, that we shouldn't. I mean, obviously, this is a very tough subject for a lot of people, especially Americans, because that inherently means the dollar is not the superior money, and
Mhm.
it's everything's more spread out, more evenly, with the, like, let's just, for hypothetically, like a Bitcoin standard. It's just, I think it's because of the power issue that we may not see a dollar collapse without a fight, like a
Mhm.
physical bloody fight, maybe a war. I just don't know how you do that, because they will just continue to push the dollar as much as they possibly can.
I mean,
And
even
that's why they did the whole stablecoin thing, so that they could
mhm.
give more demand for the dollar globally.
Yeah, even if you have a plan to replace the dollar, the powers that be are going to be the powers that be. George Soros, if you like research what he did with the British pound and like shorted it
Mm-hmm.
out of existence, he's probably the biggest manipulator in terms of democratic representation, not representation, but like,
Influence.
funding Democrats. And
Influence.
it's like all, yeah. So we've got to be, earlier you talked about how the process is going to happen of, switching from money to, or fiat to Bitcoin. We have to be very careful with that because people take advantage of it and the rich will get richer. So,
Oh, well,
How it goes.
I think like most of these things will need a transition period. But at the end of the day, we've got to get people in there that are of the same mind, like more everyday people instead of people that are like, okay, well, I'm just always been a business owner and now I'm gonna go run for politics because that's the next area that's gonna make me money. Like we need people like LBC and you in there that are just like gonna answer to the people, that actually care about the people, that have lived an everyday person's life. And I
mhm,
was like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to have to do something I don't necessarily agree with because that's what the people asked for. And that's what I mean by like we need politicians that'll answer to the people and only answer to the people. And
mhm,
no matter what money there might be offered, like it's in it's $1 over your salary that you're getting paid is an unacceptable amount.
mhm.
You're a
Yeah,
public servant.
yeah. Like there's a rabbit hole we can go down as far as like money and what it actually is. I know Elon Musk has been very vocal about energy, and almost everything in the world's kind of like valued in energy in some way or another. Like if it's cheaper to create, the price goes down, that type of stuff. And we're kind of at like that breaking point of, in the next 10 years, have we solved energy? Or like 99.8% of the solar system is the sun, where we have this big battery that we need to figure out how to harness. And that changes everything we know about money. I mean, I think there's a couple more presidential cycles between now and then, but um, yeah. So I'm not too confident until about 10 years from now. I think I'm pretty confident that Bitcoin will do okay, but after that, I just don't know. So
All right. Well, I think the conversation is cooked.
Oh,
I think it's well done.
we
yeah.
beat that
Think-
one up.
What? Yeah, I think so. All right, so let's just go do a little bit of a brief overview. Pretty much get money out of politics,
Mhm.
smaller government, and people need to pay more attention to to everybody, to everything going on, but especially when it just comes to politics, but specifically their local governments. Um, and yeah, that's my takeaway from today, and I couldn't agree more with the general sentiment from everyone. And yeah, I just want to say thank you, Crux, for joining us. I do appreciate your input today, and yeah, you did great as
Yeah,
I expected, and I will see you in more Facebook debates, sir.
yes, sir. I'll catch you. Well, also like Twitter. I've gotten a little political over there too, but I appreciate all the input. I think people need to stop being scared. Like these are things we need to talk about. And I've been told to shut up and dribble. I'm not going to shut up and dribble. Like this is way bigger to me than crypto. Like we have a platform and we're using it. So I appreciate both of y'all for having me on. Much love, much respect, and love you both.
I'm glad you joined us for this episode. We'll have to have you on for some other ones. Do you got anything going on this week that people should know about?
Good question. I actually just dropped probably my biggest flop of a video. It was the Thanksgiving video, and what I did is I compared like Bitcoin with the turkey. Solana was the mac and cheese. So I basically compared crypto with Thanksgiving meals, and I get it. SEO probably doesn't really like that, but I'm gonna try to figure out like how do I get back into a new shift, like deep dives. I'm coming right back into them. Zcash, I just ripped that one apart like 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Monad, I covered that one. So I'll probably figure out a couple different projects to talk about. I try to stay away from the Maxiism. I mean, most people know me from like the Caspa plugs and stuff like that, but I think I've done a pretty good job as far as like giving all the projects a fair shot. Some of them will bleed a little bit more, but yeah, I'll be dropping some deep dives this next week. So
I do appreciate that you do start a lot of conversations. I obviously don't always agree, but I do appreciate your civility in these conversations. So I just wanted to say that I respect that, and just keep doing your thing, and yeah, I, that's pretty much it. It's just you're very civil and on even in like a debate, and I think we need more of that. So that's pretty much where I was going with that. It's just I think we need more civil debate, and it's healthy debate, and it is whether or not we come out in agreement. Whatever, like that's not the point. The point is to have the conversation, and for both of us to even if we don't believe the other side's views, to at least understand them, and to also help make your own views stronger if you can in the process.
Right. I mean, I've learned so much from debating. People I don't agree with, that's actually where I learn. And I'm just trying to get smarter and smarter. I don't know all the answers. We just went over so much stuff and even with price, imagine Japan carry trade 2.0 happens, or gold goes from 30 trillion back down to 15 trillion, what that means for risk assets. Like, I don't know all the answers, but I can tell you all these, people that disagree with me or agree with me, I do my research and I try to be open-minded. I'm willing to bend. So
excellent.
Yeah. Well, you got anything going on this week, LBC, that people need to know about?
No, I mean, I'll be going live this evening. Of course, I go live every night, Sunday through Thursday, that is, and at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my channel, Lunar Beaches Crypto, to just go over the charts, any kind of news, economic data, pretty much everything that I can regarding the markets. That's what I do. Maybe even a little bit of trading. I keep trying, but there tends to be no moves during the Asia session, hardly ever, at least when I go while I'm live. It tends to go flat. It either moves before I'm live or after I'm live. So, and it's pretty much flat while I'm live, but it is what it is. But anyways, yeah, catch me there. And then also follow me at Lunar Beaches on X. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you all for joining.
Links to both of these guys are in the description. So if you're not following them on X or on YouTube, you definitely should be. This week, we'll have Crux of Crypto on as a guest. Me, CCM, and Crypto Bedell. We going live on Monday. Check us out on that one. I'll be also going live a whole lot more on my channel. My work season is over. So if you like stock stuff, I'll be dropping some more basic knowledge there and having a lot more fun over there. So thank you for both of you joining me here on this hard-hitting episode. We'll be following up with this one with another banger. So stay tuned. We're trying to fix this one issue at a time, and there's a lot to go over. But until next week, stay safe and don't get too risky on those trades.
Mad love.
Peace.
Later.
See you later.
Counter this, counter that. Freedom's more than tit for tat. Words can build or words can break. Speak the truth for all our sake. A hand that feeds can also bind, but peace can free a restless mind. Fix the cracks, don't paint them bright. The world's not whole without the fight. So rise and speak, don't just comply. Change the script, don't live the lie. Counter this, counter that.